Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome to my channel. My name is Ella, for those of you who don't know, and I thought I would sit down, finally, and film a very chatty video, mostly because I kind of want to document celebrating / my achievement of spending the past 10 years in the industry that I currently work in. For those of you who don't know, I am an actress, a performer, and I have been performing for my main source of income for the past 10 years now. I graduated in 2014, and it recently dawned on me that that is an achievement that I want to note down and be aware of, because I don't think it's that common for somebody to spend 10 years in the same industry. People often swap industries. B, for that to be in an industry that is incredibly tough, incredibly competitive, kind of feels like a lot of it is based on luck, but a lot of it is not as well, and that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. And also, I haven't really spoke that much on my YouTube channel about my career and about the industry that I'm in. I kind of keep the two quite separate. My YouTube tends to be about just my life, other than my jobs. Even though my jobs are a huge part of my life and my career, I am so heavily career focused, and yet I don't really talk about it that much. So I thought I would sit down and document my thoughts and feelings about spending the past 10 years performing for my work. So I started off as a dancer. I started dancing when I was 2.5 years old. My mum's side of the family all danced growing up. All of my aunties danced, and so it was just kind of a natural progression to put me into dancing. My mum also put my two older brothers into dancing, but neither of them really stuck at it, whereas I thrived. When I was 3.5, I quit dancing though, because I didn't like being told what to do, which anyone who knows me knows that sounds about right. However, I bumped into my dance teacher in Tesco's when a couple of months after I'd left, and she promised that I could be an angel in the Christmas show. So I was like, you know what, all right, I'll do it. I'll do it for the part of the angel, but don't be telling me what to do. Anyway, I went back and I never looked back. And from that point on, all I ever wanted to be was a performer, was to be a dancer, to be on stage. That is where I felt like I just belonged. I absolutely loved it. I grew up doing dance competitions, so I would go a lot of weekends out of the year and do festivals and dance competitions, competing, doing tap solos, jazz solos, contemporary solos, ballet solos, duets, trios, quartets, group numbers, all of it. Every night after school, almost. I think at one point I was doing 4 nights or 5 nights a week of dancing after school, and it was just where I thrived. I made friends for life. I just always loved it, and there was never a single moment throughout any of my life that I questioned what I wanted to do when I grew up. It was, for as long as I can remember, I'm going to be a dancer when I grew up. And that kind of came with a lot of pushback. Because saying you want to be a dancer when you grow up is kind of like saying you want to be a footballer when you grow up. A lot of people kind of don't take it very seriously because people know how competitive the industry is. So I had a lot of people my teachers at school never really knew how I did or what I did outside of school. They never knew my passion for dancing. And then when I was 13, I got incredibly ill with chronic kidney stones and kidney problems. I'm actually going to do another sit-down video just talking about my whole history of my health problems, because that is a massive part of my YouTube channel, is talking about my kidneys, my kidney stones, stents, operations, trauma, all around to do with that. And I get quite a lot of interaction on those videos because I guess there are not many other videos talking about it. So I'll do a whole separate video about my childhood, teenage years. But when I was 13, I got really, really ill. I was in extreme amounts of pain. And I was bedbound mostly for months and months at a time. I was in Great Ormond Street for weeks on end. I was having operation after operation for kidney stones to remove them. So from the age of 13 to 16, I had 7 operations on my kidneys. And yet in the hospital bed, when the nurses would come round and talk to me, or when, you know, when I was like 13, 14, 15, you'd get people coming round asking what you want to do with your career. You'd get the school people coming round. We had school at hospital. And, you know, at one point I had someone come round and say, so what do you want to do when you're older? And I said, I want to be a dancer. I want to be a performer. And at that point I had been in bed unable to move for however many months due to my chronic pain. And they kind of looked at me and they were like, well, maybe we should think of a plan B. And I was like, try and think of something else that you might want to do. How about a nurse? Do you want to be a nurse? And I was like, no, I don't want to be a nurse. I don't want to do anything else. I want to be a performer. I want to be on stage. I want to be a dancer. That is it. End of conversation. I'm not talking about this anymore. And that was kind of that. So even through all of my health problems, I feel like I have been very privileged in the fact that I have never once questioned what I wanted to do for a career. I've never had that sort of indecisive, like, oh, I could do this and I could do that and I like this and I like that. No, it's always just been like, I want to be a performer and that is what I'm going to be. Just before I got ill, I think I was 12, I auditioned for Tring, which was a ballet school, which I got in, but I didn't get a scholarship. I come from a working class family. There was not really any way. I mean, my dad would have remortgaged the house to send me there, but I said, like, let's just leave it. And that worked out for the better because literally like a year later, I got really ill. So that would have been a massive waste of money. Having operations, going through the cycle of being very unwell, in a lot of pain, but any time that I could, I would be at my dance class. I would not go to school, but I would go to dancing because I just needed it. It was an escape for me, and actually my pain felt better when I was dancing. It felt a lot worse after, but for the time that I was dancing, I had distraction and I felt like me again. And then it came time to start thinking about what I wanted to do after school. So I was not in school pretty much at all from the age of, 13, 14. I mean, I guess from year 9, I think it was. I really didn't go to school. I went to school for like a couple of days out of the week. My attendance was awful. At one point, just before my GCSEs, I started having a private tutor. So I'd go into school for an hour and have just an hour private one-on-one just to try and catch me up with everything that I needed to know for my GCSEs. But I basically didn't go to school for the whole of those very important years. I also hated school, by the way. So I was not that fussed about going either, but I was also in a hell of a lot of pain. But I also thought, do you know what? I don't think it matters if I don't get my GCSEs because I'm going to be a dancer anyway and I'm not going to need them, which I think is a very confident way of thinking. But I just had this feeling that I was going to work it out. I didn't want to do anything academic anyway. And I couldn't, even if I wanted to, because I was too ill to be going to school. So I basically flopped all of my GCSEs. I think I got 3 over the level of C, like C and above. At that time it was like A, B, C, D, E, F. Definitely got some Fs. But I think I got like C's and maybe, I honestly don't know, because guess what? I haven't had to tell anyone what GCSEs I got past that point, because I auditioned for dance colleges. I auditioned for all of the big ones at the time, but it was in the period when I was still in and out of hospital, in a lot of pain, on morphine, auditioning for dance colleges. And so I auditioned for a lot of them. I got recalls and got called back to have another audition for a scholarship, which is what I needed at the time in order to be able to go to dance college, because again, I come from a working class family and they wouldn't have been able to pay for me, and I wouldn't have been on a degree because I didn't have my GCSEs. Where a degree you can get your student loan, whereas a diploma, which is what I was going for because I was auditioning at 16 or at 15, the only option was a dance and drama award at the time, and so that was what I needed to get to be able to go. So I did a lot of auditions. I got into a lot of dance colleges. A lot of them had recalls where you had to go back and re-audition to get a scholarship or to be in with a chance of getting a scholarship. And for all of them, I was well enough to do the original audition, and then I was back in hospital by the time that the auditions came around to get a scholarship. So I missed out on a scholarship for the majority of them, other than the one that I went to, which gave me a full scholarship straight away, which was Bird College. I remember getting that letter and being like, it says I've got a dance and drama award, I've got a scholarship. And I went and I ran up to my mum and I gave her the letter, and she looked at it and she was like, no, I think let's call them up to see. I'm not sure what any of this means. Like, I don't think she wanted to get her hopes up or my hopes up. And she called them up and they said, yeah, she's got a full scholarship. And that was the point where I knew I was going to be able to go to dance college. I'm getting a bit emotional. Okay, let me just have a moment. Also, I cry at everything. So don't mind me. I'll just be here gathering my self. Okay. I've regathered myself. So that was the moment that I realised that I was going to be able to go to dance college, which was such a relief, because at that time I didn't have enough GCSEs to go to a normal college. You know, I was thinking of other options. I was thinking maybe I'll do like hair and makeup, not that I was particularly passionate about it. And then I went for an interview at the college and they said, you don't have enough GCSEs to be able to do this course, so you'll have to resit your GCSEs. And I was like, absolutely no way in hell would I be going back to school. I hated school. My school was terrible. And so I was like, I'd rather go and work in McDonald's for a year and then re-audition for dance colleges if I don't get in, or if I don't get a scholarship for one. So to have that letter come through, I remember just being like, thank you, universe. Like, this alleviates all of the worries that I had that I wasn't good enough to get into dance college, because I got in, I got a scholarship, I got full maintenance paid for as well, which was just amazing, because yeah, my family would have struggled to have paid if it wasn't for all of that. So I'm so grateful for Bird for giving me the scholarship and giving me the opportunity to train with them. So it was a 3-year course. I went at the age of 16, which is young to, I guess, move out of house, move out of your family home, move away, go to college, be working Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Did we go in on Saturdays? Some Saturdays, I think. But first year arrived, I lived with a landlady, and I was still very ill. Bearing in mind, I was ill when I was doing the auditions. I was on morphine, strongest painkillers, constant antibiotics, constantly in and out of hospital with chronic severe pain when I was doing the auditions, and it was the same for basically the whole of my first year. So imagine being in chronic pain with kidney stones, which is like described as, by some people, worse than labour, including my mum, who's had 3 kids, and then going and doing the most physically demanding college course you could ever imagine, which is dance college. You know, it's an hour of ballet every morning starting at 8, and then from 8 until 6, every hour you're doing a different lesson with lunch in around 1. You're doing maybe 8 hours of dancing a day. So it was intense. I was in and out of hospital. I'm not sure if I had any actual operations, but I had just severe chronic pain. And so I fell behind in my first year. And I was already younger than a lot of the people there, and then I was falling behind because I was so ill as well. And then a lot of the teachers wouldn't really take my illness seriously either, because, you know, you go into your lesson, you hand your teacher a note, and there's a queue of half the class behind you also handing in notes for injuries or whatever they've got going on. A lot of people were like injured and sick, and you had to give your teacher a note, and a lot of those teachers wouldn't bother reading the notes.
Just coming in here to add that obviously my illness was invisible. Invisible illnesses are notoriously difficult to navigate, and I think at dance college, if you looked well, it was very much perceived that you were well, which didn't help my case.
And so, you know, someone's note might be, I've got a sore knee, and my note was, I came out of hospital yesterday, I'm on morphine, I'm in chronic pain, I've got kidney stones, but I'm coming in and I'm trying. And they wouldn't read it, and so they wouldn't know. So there was a lot of like massive lack of understanding from the teachers. Some teachers, I went into their class and was trying my hardest and would get asked, why are you even here? I can tell you don't even want to work hard. What are you even doing in my lesson? And I'd end up telling them and walking out, and it was, you know, not what I needed at that time, basically. I felt a massive lack of support throughout the whole of my school years dealing with this problem, and I have to say I felt the same when I was really ill in college as well. Just a massive lack of support and understanding from most people. There's some standout teachers that I will always be grateful for, because I could tell that they could tell that I was really trying, but a lot of teachers kind of just fobbed me off as lazy, or just not working hard enough, basically. So that was the whole of the first year. I didn't get to do my assessments. Every year in college you do assessments to assess where you are throughout all of your dance skills, your singing skills, your acting skills, whatever. Missed them. And then second year I was still quite ill for like half of that second year, and then I was really, at one night, I was in pain with my kidneys so much. I was filling up a hot water bottle, and in my like morphine pain state, I kind of just like zoned out. And as I was filling up the hot water bottle, I just spilled all of the hot water all over my leg, and I got severe blistered burns on my thigh. And this was just as I was starting to feel better from my kidneys, and I was just going to do my second year assessments, and then I got this huge burn on my leg. I couldn't dance for another couple of weeks after that. Again, even with that, I'd wrapped it up, I'd gone to A&E, obviously I'd had it like covered and sorted, but obviously I couldn't dance with it. And even that, I had, you know, teachers being like, you know, here she goes again, like Mrs. Hypochondriac, which I had been called before as well. And yeah, I couldn't do those assessments. And then I remember one time I went into college and I took off all of the wrapping around my leg. and like let my scar slash wound heal and breathe a little bit. And it was only then that I felt like the teachers believed that I'd actually really fucking hurt myself, because they could see it. So yeah, that was a little bit of a mess. So then anyway, second year goes on, I end up doing all of my assessments eventually, and third year starts. And third year was the year that I could finally like have all of the energy to put into getting better and going to college all the time, you know. And it was the year that I finally had some teachers come up and say, you know what, Ella, like you've improved a lot over the past 6 months. And even like comments like that, it's like, it's great, but it also shows a massive lack of understanding of the fact that I've been in hospital for the rest of the time, in and out of hospital. Of course, I'm not going to improve so much when I'm really, really ill. And of course, when I'm better, I'm going to be able to do more. And so, yeah, rest of the second half of second year and all of third year was great. I was well, I was out of pain mostly, I mean, for me. And I was able to really enjoy my last year at college. I was 18, just about to turn 19 at this time. We had an agent showcase. And throughout all of college, I was really not a favourite at all. Like, most of the teachers didn't really even know my name, sort of not favourite. And yeah, I was always like good at tap. I've always been mostly a dancer. Acting and singing, I just didn't really contribute. Like, the classes were so big that you could kind of choose to just like wait and then you'd never get your turn, basically. So I really didn't improve with my acting and singing, I would say, but my dancing definitely did improve. Even though I went in there as a dancer, I definitely came out a stronger dancer. We did an agent showcase and we made up a dance, and lots of agents come to watch all of the third years at college and sign people who they think they want to be representing. And I remember being told that you were not going to get agents coming to you if you were just doing a dance number, because that's not what they want. They want people who can dance, sing and act. So basically, good luck getting an agent with that number, sort of thing. And I wasn't hopeful of getting an agent, but I also have always had this underlying, like, just pure stubbornness and determination, basically. Knowing what I want to do, knowing that there's no other option, there's nothing else that I want to do, so I'm going to have to find a way to do it. And we did that agent showcase, and I, to my disbelief, got like 14 agent meetings and like over 10 agent offers. And that was mind-boggling to me, because that was one of the most in the year. And I was not a favourite. So I was kind of like, that's weird. How can I be so shit and get all these agent offers? That doesn't make any sense. How weird. Anyway, I signed with my first agent, who was a good agency, and I graduated. I was in, like, for the final year show, everyone else was in maybe 8 or 9 numbers. Some people were in as many as like 13 different numbers, dance numbers. And I was in 3, just to show you like how little of a favourite I was. I was in 3. The tap one, obviously, and then like a contemporary one, and then like all of the ones that everybody was in. But in terms of like added numbers, I was literally in like 3, which was so low. Oh, Marley wants to come and say hello. Come on then. Come on then. Don't meow at the door and then not come in. Marley. He ran away. So yeah, I graduated and I started auditioning, and I remember going into my first couple of auditions. I was auditioning for a lot of cruises, but also my agent was getting me a lot of auditions as well. And I remember going in and being like coming out of college being like the least favourite, or like not a favourite at all, and then going into auditions is a really weird thing, because I went in with such low expectations of myself, and I was in the room and I kind of dawned on me that I was not the worst in the room. And I was getting recalls, and then within a couple of months of graduating, I got my first job, which was a panto. I did Cinderella. I was a dancer over the Christmas period, and that was incredible to get my first job so quickly. I was so grateful. And then I got my second job pretty quickly as well, and that was for a cruise. So I went off on Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines, and I did Mamma Mia. And another show where I learned aerial, and I was doing that for a year, and it was just the most incredible job to get as a 20-year-old. Just graduated. I got to travel all around Europe. I got to rehearse in Miami for 3 months. I got to see places that I'd never seen, performing in such a fun musical. I made friends for life. It was just such a good time. I loved it, and I was so grateful for it. And I got paid pretty well, and I didn't have any expenses because I wasn't paying for rent or anything. Honestly, I just loved that year. And then I came back off of the cruise ship, and I tried to get another cruise because I was like, get me back on a ship. That was so much fun. Like, I definitely want to do one more. And I got back, and they were not putting me through any of the rounds. Like, I was not getting down. I think I felt like I'd put on a bit of weight on the cruise ship. I don't know what it was, but they just were like, no. And then I ended up getting another job, and so I never got to do another cruise, which worked out exactly how it was supposed to work out, which is how all things always do work out, exactly how they're supposed to. So I then did a UK tour of Kiss Me Kate with the Welsh National Opera, dancing and singing and acting, obviously. And I met my best friend on that job, one of my best friends. And then while I was rehearsing and doing the shows for that, I got an audition through for 42nd Street, which was going to be opening in London, playing at the Theatre Royal Drury Lane. And I did that audition. It was after they'd cast the main cast, and they were still looking for a few people. And I went in, it was a whole day of auditioning, and yeah, at the end of that audition, they kind of hinted at the fact that I got a job, and then 8 days later, like horrible 8-day wait after you've been like hinted at that you've got the job, then having to wait 8 days was like, that must have been a mistake, like they shouldn't have said that. But I did get the job, and that was my first big job, like West End role, a year contract. I had a part in it as well, and it was in a tap musical, which is just like perfect for me. I was so excited, and just a little bit of like coincidence in the fact that my third year musical at college was 42nd Street, and then I graduated, and then I did 2 years in the West End doing 42nd Street, and I just loved that job so much. Every night when the curtain went up, being in that beautiful theatre in London, having the part that I had, the cast that we had, doing the show that it was, which was just this huge Broadway, like big number musical. It was just an incredible 2 years. Difficult too, because I had 2 operations in that time and a lot of pain either side of those. I had an operation, and then I was back on stage filming the film. We did a film of 42nd Street, and I recorded that 6 days after my operation. I remember being so unfit and unwell and just like really struggling on that film. But I'm so glad I got to do it and got back in time. And that was also my me dipping my toe for the first time into acting. I had a small part, so I had some lines. I got to like experiment a little bit with acting, and it kind of sparked something in me where I was like, like I like acting, and I think I could be good at it. As well as dancing, because dancing was always just my number one thing. And then when I got 42nd Street, I was like, yeah, okay, acting. Let's like lock that away for later. So yeah, I did 2 years in the West End, and then I did Singing in the Rain at the Mill at Sonning, and then it was COVID. And COVID really changed everything. There was no auditions. I mean, if it wasn't hard enough before, you know, I'd go 8 months without any work regularly before, but COVID was just, and obviously there was just nothing. So yeah, I had no work whatsoever. In this time, I'd never had like another full-on job. Like I did a little bit of leafleting. I've done a little bit of like, I worked in like a financial like telesales thing, which I absolutely hated and got fired from because I just ended up talking to the old people that needed company and not trying to sell them anything. I did a bit of nannying, which was like really the thing that I've done the most on the side, is a bit of nannying here and there. But all in all, like I've really been earning my money through performing for the whole of these 10 years. Other than COVID, which is when the government grants came very much in handy. When I had finished 42nd Street, I changed agents because my current agent wasn't getting me the sorts of jobs that I was really wanting to do, which was more TV and film. So I swapped agents and I moved over to the agent that I'm still with today. This has been like 5 years. And they started getting me in for commercial auditions and TV and film, and I started getting commercials. I had my first commercial. I think I flew to Lisbon and filmed a commercial for EDF, and just flying somewhere and being put up in like a hotel and just having that experience alone was enough for me to be like, ooh, I want to do more of that. And getting to act and like kind of learn a new craft of performing in front of a camera was just really fun for me. And yeah, so I kind of dipped my toe into TV and film, and then I did Cats, the film, and then after COVID had kind of settled down a little bit, 2021, I did a new musical at the Hackney Empire, and beautiful cast. It was incredible to be back dancing. It was very intense, and it also really like showed me that there was just such a big difference in the way that you're treated as a dancer versus an actress, which I don't understand why this is the case, but it honestly is. And it really confirmed in my head, once I'd gone back to musicals for a little bit, I was like, no, I think I want to go down the acting path. Like, I think that is where it's going to be at for me in terms of being able to be pushed and being appreciated for the things that I can do and not just treated as like a number. Yeah, I kind of decided after that, right, I want to focus on TV and film. And that's what I did. And I think it was 2022, 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago maybe, I said to my agent that I don't want to be put up for any more musicals. I want to focus on TV and film. And that is what I've been doing ever since. From 2019, when I filmed my first commercial, I think I've now filmed like 10 commercials. I've danced in Cats, I've danced in Wonka, I've acted in a film called After Everything. I have a few jobs that I've recently done that will be coming up. I've travelled the world. I've gone to Chile, I've gone to Barcelona with work, I've been to Lisbon with work, I've been to Bulgaria with work, I've been to Lithuania with work. It's just been, I think it was the best decision that I've made to really put myself wholeheartedly into acting. I did an acting course. I've been like learning a lot as I go in terms of acting. You know, a lot of my auditions and stuff are self-tapes. So it's me filming whatever scenes they give me and then me watching myself back and being like, no, no, no. You end up spending hours filming self-tapes because you have to watch yourself back and like believe what you're acting. And I am my own worst critic, but also like imagine watching yourself back and being like, yeah, that was great. That's very rare. It takes a while to get there. And I've learned so much through being on set as well. I am really enjoying the direction in which my career is going in. I read something or I heard something the other day that was like, it takes 10 years to become an overnight success. And I love that saying because that's when it resonated with me that, I've been doing this for 10 years and I feel like I'm like beginning to get somewhere with it. And B, everyone that you see that just kind of blows up overnight, the majority of those people have been working on their craft for years and years and years. And obviously it takes one role to just like really shoot someone and like cement them in the industry. But the majority of people have been working at their craft for years. And I really feel like I've learned so much. I've achieved so much. And I'm so proud of myself for not listening to anyone who told me that I couldn't, that I wouldn't, that I shouldn't, that it's not realistic, that it's too competitive, that it's not financially stable, that it's, you know, I'm so glad that I have been privileged enough to know what I've wanted to do. Obviously it was dancing and now it's acting, but it was always performing. I love being on stage. I love being in front of the camera. It's always been that for me. And I know that I'm so lucky to have just known that forever. And I still feel that way, even after 10 years in a very tough industry. You know, there have been so many no's. I honestly think over 1,000 no's, considering like sometimes I'm doing 5 self-tapes a week on a busy week and the majority of them I don't get. It's like, it's a lot of no's, but the times that I get the yeses so make up for all of the times that I've had a no. The times of me being on set and realising that I never have to work a day in my life if I can make this my forever career. You know, obviously, who knows what I'll want in another 10 years, but right now, this is what I want. And I'm so lucky to get to call my hobby my work. And I never feel like I have to work because I love what I do so much. Don't tell anyone, I would do it for free because I just love it. And yeah, I understand that I'm just so fortunate to be in the position that I am. And I wanted to, just get it all out and talk about my career so far and just talk about how grateful I am to have been in the performing industry for 10 years. It's been 10 amazing years. I've met such incredible people. I've been to such unbelievable places. And I'm looking forward to the next 10 years where I really want to push myself. I really want to continue learning and improving and becoming a better actress. And I also think that I grew up being a very emotional person, but not quite knowing how to like express my emotions or how to handle them. And granted, I still don't half the time. But I feel like me being such an empathetic person is such a massive advantage in terms of my acting because it doesn't take me very much to be able to put myself in someone else's shoes, to be able to feel what a character would feel. You know, like I did a job earlier on this year where I kind of had to cry on cue, and that's really easy for me. I cry at everything. So that's barely me working. That's just me like letting my guard down a little bit. It's really quite simple. But I just love that I can like utilize my over emotional self and turn it into art and something that people can relate to. And I really hope that the next 10 years has just, I don't know, maybe the next 10 years will have things that I can't even possibly imagine. I'm pretty sure it will have things that I can't even comprehend right now. Because 10 years ago, I couldn't comprehend that I would be where I am today with my career, with my life, just like with my health. Yeah, I feel very lucky. And I'm going to go before I start crying again. And I'm going to edit down this really long, rambly video. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit about my career and about, the industry that I'm in and my journey so far. I thought maybe some people might find it interesting. And it's also just a nice video for me to be able to look back on as well. So yeah, I'm going to go. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed already and you like my soppy emotional self, please do subscribe. I really appreciate it. I'm going to do a video about my health over the past 10 years, I guess, as well. I think as I'm kind of getting towards 30, I'm feeling very nostalgic, and I think it's a good time. I'm 30 January 31st, that's just a couple of months now. It's a good time to reflect on the past 10 years and appreciate where I am, and just have a moment to acknowledge where you are and to acknowledge that your past self would be proud of you. And I'm sure it goes the same for all of you. If you look back at yourself 10 years ago, I think your younger self would be proud of you, and I know that mine is of me. So yeah, subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.